So guys, the Caitlin Clark effect. Something that is 100% a thing. I know there are some people that want to say the Caitlin Clark effect's not a thing. The league was already going in a good way, and yeah, it was. But realistically, it's where the WNBA is eventually going to get to. Let's just say that's 100. Let's say it's a 100-meter race. And the WNBA starts at 0. Actually, no, because it's obviously was bigger in 1997. Let's say the WNBA in 2010-ish, which was the lowest point. At 2010, it starts at 0. 100 is the most popular it's ever going to be, which could be 30 years from now. Which is going to be when the Caitlin Clark effect, the Paige Beckers effect, where the effect of all these players gets into the young players and the talent is just at a level supremely far ahead of where it is right now. And that's going to happen. It's just how soon it's going to happen, we don't know. What Caitlin Clark effectively did was the WNBA was walking to about the 10 meter. Over the last 15 years, they walked about 10 meters into the 100 meter race, sometimes took a picnic in the middle of the race, and Caitlin Clark decided to pick up the runner and sprint to about the 60 meter mark. Like that's the effect. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. That yeah, they had been growing progressively, but she shot it into a stratosphere that has not been seen ever before. Like women's basketball is at a bigger spot than it's ever been. But this just shows the Caitlin Clark effect. This is from the Indiana Fever. Up 1,200% in jersey sales. 1,200%. Set the single game team store sales record 4 times. Of course you did. The only reason you didn't set it every single game was because sometimes the previous game might have had more than the next game. Like, it's like if somebody, let's just say there's some superhuman person who can run sub 9 seconds in 100 meters. Saying, oh, you know what, he only actually set the record twice. Bolt set it like 5 times. Well, yeah, he might have had 150 runs. That would have been better than Bolt's record. But 800 million social media views, April to July. 800 million. And by the way, I have 10 million long form views on this channel. 10 million. 10 million. Like, it's crazy. And that's just a random ass Irish guy who's talking into a microphone while looking at things on a screen beside me. 10 million views. Ranked number 1 in all teams. Among teams in the NBA, WNBA, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB. April to July. The NBA playoffs, by the way. More views than NBA teams during the playoffs. During the playoffs. That is the craziest stat of them all. The Fever have more social media traction than any NBA team during the playoffs. 10 times increase in fans interacting with the website and app. 1.8 million followers, number 1. 1.3 million followers gained in 3 months. What? 38 games broadcast on national television. League high. Have they played? They haven't played 38 games. I don't understand that one. 10 broadcast set network record, plus 225% increase in partnerships, largest number of team sponsors, plus 150% Freddie appearances, plus 740% beers sold. Like, what is this? Like, people don't understand. People do not understand the Caitlin Clark effect. Like, this is bigger because we're in the social media. This is if Tiger Woods came up in the social media era. This is if, not quite, look, I think a Muhammad Ali would have been bigger than Caitlin Clark. I think Tiger Woods would have been bigger than Caitlin Clark, but that's the equivalent. We have only seen I'm trying to think in like professional sports, a player drag a sport. Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. We've seen Serena in women's tennis, because I think in men's tennis, as much as if you're asking me who is better in the respective field, Djokovic or Serena, I go Djokovic 100 times out of 100. I'd also go Federer and Nadal with Serena in terms of even men versus women. I think Serena's probably the greatest woman of all time, but I do think those three, as far as overall tennis, were the best. But what Serena Williams did for women's tennis, as much as people were watching women's tennis beforehand with like Monica Seles, Steffi Graf, so what Serena Williams did was send it to another level. It's been Serena, Tiger, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. Especially when we're talking about America. We're talking about America, yeah, those. Stephen Curry. Not even LeBron. Caitlin Clark is a bigger draw than LeBron James was. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon we've never seen anything like it. And for everyone being like, oh, it's just a bunch of racists, have you been to the games? It's just a bunch of parents bringing their kids. It is just a bunch. The amount of times you see dads bringing their young girls who are obsessed with Caitlin Clark to games and just look so happy that their kids are interested in sports. Like, this is how crazy, this is actually just, I'll give a anecdote. So, my dad, 60, works with someone else pushing 60. His daughter never played sport in her life. Is probably, I think, a few years older than me. Has been talking to her dad about how she has just gotten really into watching women's basketball. Never watched any sport. Never had any interest in sport. But has an interest in watching Caitlin Clark. And that's the thing. These players that I have mentioned, the difference between them and a LeBron is LeBron didn't get non-basketball fans to watch basketball. Steph Curry got non-basketball fans to watch basketball. Michael Jordan got non-basketball fans to watch basketball. Even what Larry Bird and Magic Johnson did to save the league, they didn't necessarily do that. That was a Jordan. That was a Curry. That was a Caitlin Clark. When you can get somebody that has no interest in your sport or your league to suddenly get interest, that is something that very few players have done. And I don't think you can even say any football players have necessarily done that. Maybe David Beckham to the MLS. Maybe David Beckham has had a similar thing. But I think Ronaldo, considering Real Madrid fans are always going to be there. Manchester United fans are always going to be there. Like, there's a reason why the Scum are one of the biggest teams in the world. Before Ronaldo and after Ronaldo. David Beckham maybe, because he did it in America and he really brought forward the MLS. But other than that, I don't think there's anyone that's had as much of an impact. Caitlin Clark has had so much of an impact that she was more popular than the NBA playoffs. Not one random game in the finals. She has been more popular in the playoffs. And we saw it. The most viewed basketball game since 2016 was her playing in college. The second most viewed, or not second most viewed game, I think it was the Olympic final. But one of the top 3 most viewed games of all time, 3 or 4 most viewed games, since 2016, was her game against UConn. So it wasn't, oh, people wanted to see South Carolina. Man, the UConn game is up there. Then the LSU game is up there. All of them more viewed than any of the NBA finals since 2019. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And the Caitlin Clark effect is something we're never going to see in sports again. We are never going to see it in sports. Not necessarily never going to see it in sports again. But there's only a certain amount of sports that it can happen with. There's like, you need to have a Caitlin Clark effect. You need to have a sport that is at the bottom and suddenly turn it into complete mainstream. And especially in America, a lot of the time it has to be an American person that does it, especially when we're talking about the Western world's views of sports. There aren't that many sports left. The only chance is if some random ass lacrosse player is so good at the sport that people start watching lacrosse, which is not going to happen. Or, you know what, there could be a women's football player that's like better than Ronaldo and has crazy skill that could do that. But it's even more so, basketball's a bigger one because it's more individuals. I don't think in our lifetime we're going to see, we've seen enough of these individual players. There might be a female golfer that is like comparable to the better men's. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but that might happen. That's the only chance we get of another Caitlin Clark in our lifetime. So if you're a WNBA fan, while the toxic fans are going to go, trust me, this is good. This is good.